I think this defense has taken such a huge step forward. It's going to help Jalen Hurts in his progression as the starting quarterback, because last year he didn't get put on many short fields. In fact, many times Jalen Hurts is starting to drive on his own 20, his own 22, his own 25. There was nothing in the defense to ever put the offense on a short field. And I believe this year you're going to see Jalen Hurts on some shorter fields because he's got an impactful defense to get the ball back for him.
One of my favorite people. Yesterday we had Mike Missinelli on, and I really love the fact that there's so many great sports talkers that I've come across. And I will say this about my friend John Kincade, the morning man on 97.5, the Fanatic. He's here with us now. He's one of the best sports talkers. When he was in Atlanta, his roots really are Flyers and Philly and Eagles and Phillies. Hey, man, I'm so glad that you're able to join us here. Thank you so much, John, for doing this, man. Being a morning guy like I was for 25 years, you lived like a vampire.
You know that I just got up from a nap. That absolutely reinforces your opinion. And today I napped right up until it was time to talk to you. So I was like, I can't believe it. Usually by the end of the week, I'm ready. I said, give me one afternoon where I have like 2 hours just to crash. So that's what I did. But it's nice now. So how are you doing, Dan? It's good to see you. Usually on a Radio Row, I'm getting a big Dan Sileo hug. It feels weird though, just doing it screen to screen. Damn COVID. I said it's nice that we've learned different ways to be able to catch up with people though.
Absolutely, John. You're one of the best out there too. And you know that how much I respect your work and what you do here. Do you agree with me, John, that this year really, the head coach, I tell people this all the time. He got out to a great start last year, but look at Matt Nagy a couple of years ago. He was the NFL coach of the year. He's blown out this past offseason here. It really doesn't matter so much what you do in the start of it. You've got to see great consistency. Then the defensive coordinator with all the question marks on what we saw last year. And of course, Jalen Hurts. Those are the three things that we're all going to be watching this year. How the head coach motivates the team, how the defensive coordinator puts in the new pieces, and the quarterback. Do you agree that those three are the major points?
Well, the one thing I would say is Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, is really mission critical to what they accomplished, because last year Gannon was being asked to succeed with he only had half a deck to work with. They went out and loaded up his cupboards this offseason. He's got talent at all three levels now that is NFL level competent. Last year, he didn't have that. The offense last year for the Eagles starts out 2-5. They were terrible, absolutely atrocious, and they were leading the NFL in history in penalties after 7 weeks. So they were a real mixed bag. Everything sort of cleaned itself up. 9-8 was nothing to write home about, and then the blowout loss to the Buccaneers. I'm sort of looking at that as like the first pancake. My mom back in Broomall, Pennsylvania, would have her griddle all set up. She'd make one pancake and then she'd throw it out. And just to test the griddle. Last year, I'm looking at that for Nick Sirianni as the one that tested the griddle. He threw that one out. Let's start over. Even though it was a playoff season, it really wasn't that impressive.
How about this too, John? Does it concern you with Haason Reddick that this is his third team in 3 years? That even his college coach at Temple, Matt Rule, ended up passing on him and allowing him to sign that contract with the Eagles. And I talked to some of the people in Arizona. One of the issues that they had there with him was that they first initially played him inside, which was out of position. Then when Chandler Jones went down, they put him outside, and he ended up being an effective pass rusher, double-digit sacks in Arizona and in Carolina. Not saying that the skill set's not there, but a third team in 3 years, to me, it sounds like he's one of them old school hybrid guys, John, that people really have a tough time figuring out what to do with him. 34, 43, 46 defense. He's kind of that tweener guy. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah. And I think, too, though, the situation came about where it was time for him to be able to he could make a move. And when Philadelphia comes calling, it was available to him and he jumped. Look, Dan, when Joe Bell made the phone call and said, look, you're not in Atlanta anymore, there's an opportunity. That was my opportunity to come home to Philadelphia as a free agent. And I jumped at it. And I had other opportunities. but I wanted to be here and I wanted to be back home. And I think for Haason, that really happened. And that really meant something because the minute he got here, he fired up his foundation over in Jersey. He got back in touch with his high school and his college roots as far as getting involved in the community and everything. I think this is something that Reddick had his eye on and figured I put two real solid years in. Now I can cash in and I can go home to Philadelphia.
I want to take you over to the offense here, and obviously it starts at Jalen Hurts. You believe he's the quarterback in 2023 after this year?
I do. The reason being is I think this defense has taken such a huge step forward. It's going to help Jalen Hurts in his progression as the starting quarterback because last year he didn't get put on many short fields. In fact, many times Jalen Hurts is starting to drive on his own 20, his own 22, his own 25. There was nothing in the defense to ever put the offense on a short field. And I believe this year you're going to see Jalen Hurts on some shorter fields because he's got an impactful defense to get the ball back for him. So I think that will help him. I also think that it honestly, he's got the best offensive line in football to have behind. And with the threats in the running game that they've got, with a Miles Sanders, with a Kenneth Gainwell, who I actually think is going to end up being the better option in the running game this year, that just makes Hurts that more dynamic. Because when you don't know whether he's going to keep it, whether he's going to hand it off, or whether he's going to roll a bit and then try to throw it downfield, I think it just gives him the more options that he has to throw the football or to run the football. Just makes him that much more dangerous. And I think his arm still needs that right now. He still
John, you bring
obvious throw.
John, you bring a point up here with Gainwell, and I happen to agree 100%. I think Miles Sanders is a fine ball player, but he's not a today NFL running back complete player. He's atrocious on catching the football. And if you're going to try to help Jalen Hurts in the passing game, I mean, John, last year their screen game and their slot passing game was non-existent.
What screen game? I didn't.
It was non-existent, but if you can't count on Jalen Hurts to do this, well, let's throw 15-yard outs and 15-yard in passes and think you're going to have a high percentage. So this kid Gainwell, right, John? This guy gives them more of a chance. Brady made a career. Dink, dunk, tight end, one time over the top, and he made a career out of that, doing that. They need to get to that.
Dan, I wanted to see Gainwell used last year a little bit more like Brian Westbrook early in his career. And boy, did it help Donovan McNabb. They made each other Pro Bowl. There were so many things you could do. Like Brian Westbrook was like a corkscrew. He was like one of those tools they sell you on late night TV when you napped in the afternoon, you can't sleep at night. Oh, look what it can do. You can you can build a boat with it. You could you can hammer in a nail with this thing. I think Brian Westbrook was that kind of guy. I don't know that Gainwell has that potential, but hell, if he's 3/4 of the player that Westbrook ever was for the Eagles, Gainwell's going to be a huge hit. I think he is going to be the biggest Eagle that makes a jump this year in our awareness is going to be Gainwell in this offense.
I love that take there. Who do you think benefits the most from having A.J. Brown in that huddle? Dallas Goedert or Devontae Smith?
I'm going to tell you, I think it's Dallas Goedert because I think so much attention is going to go the way of A.J. Brown. And then, so secondary attention goes to Devontae Smith. Are you kidding me? That big target's going to be trotting, 7 yards out, 9 yards out, 12 yards deep. Dallas Goedert should be in for a huge year this year. I think his over-under on receptions is like 71.5 or something. I'd bet the over on that big time. I absolutely would jump in on that one. I think Goddard's in for a huge year. I
do too. Yeah, how far – I said this, John, I think they're the favorites to win the NFC East. Again, putting a number on that, I wish if I could put a number on that, I'd be playing that Powerball. Okay, so, I mean, that's what I'd be doing right now. But
you mean the Mega?
I do think they have – what's that?
Well, nearly as big as the Mega Millions. You want the Mega Millions. Don't make that mistake.
Yeah, if I hit that Mega Millions, you'll never see big sales again. I'll burn the bridges and the boats. Never see that again. Hey, but this team does – have they closed the gap, in your opinion, with Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas has a gap to make up on the Philadelphia Eagles. I really believe that. There's no doubt in my mind the Eagles are the division favorites. And there's little doubt in my mind that they'll be the team that has the bye week or has the position to host a home game as a division champion. That bye week thing went away. I don't think they're going to be that good where they can get the top seed, but I do believe that the Eagles will be a division winner, putting them in those top 4 seeds. And then we'll see where it goes from there. A division winner and a home playoff game win, to me, would make this year just a huge success. And I really don't believe the Eagles are a Super Bowl type team at all for this year. I think you have to learn more. I think you have to grow more. I think you need a few skin knees. You need a couple of black eyes. You need to learn along the way. But if the Eagles were to win the division this year and win a playoff game, Dan, I'll talk to you next summer, and with a few additions, including 2 first-round picks that they've got here, next year I could talk about them potentially playing in the Super Bowl. And I believe that one's in Vegas, which would really blow my mind. That would be
absolutely. I'm getting Rich McKay on. I told Rich that I'm getting you on today. I'm getting him on next week, and he goes, "You tell Kincade." I said, "Hi, man." I mean, I love Rich McKay. He's on, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right, John? I think he's the chairman of the competition committee.
Yeah, the competition committee chair. When he was running the Falcons, I can tell you, Dan, is that, you do the job 21 years in more than 21 years in Atlanta, like I did. You meet all the executives, you get to know them a little bit. Rich McKay was a guy, Dan, he'd pick up the phone. He would talk to you. He would tell you what you got right and what you got wrong. And one time, the best of all, I got scolded by Rich McKay's wife, who heard something on the show, disagreed with it, and he said, "Handle it yourself." And she did. And we loved Mrs. McKay. She was awesome. But you know what, though? That's one of the best things, Dan, is that, and you've learned it over the years too, is that you've got to be willing to be accountable. And we were saying something, and in his, and not in my defense at all, she ended up being right. And we corrected the record, but she was a great lady. And we always liked dealing with Rich because he never dodged me, ever. Never did he. The Philadelphia Eagles management could learn a little something from Rich McKay, because Rich McKay, we weren't the flagship station. He made time for us. Rich McKay took the tough questions. And you know what? He had some tough questions for you too, because he'd be listening. And he'd say, "Why'd you say that? That makes no sense, because that never happened." Or, "What you thought happened didn't happen. Let me explain it to you." And it's a different age in media today. It's like there are these firewalls up about who's going to disseminate their information and everything. That wasn't Rich McKay.
No way, man. John, it's about accessibility. I'm going to close with this. I'm going to show you something.
What's that?
I'm going to show you something here. Now, you're going to look at this and go, "Okay, now let me show you this."
Okay.
This was given to me by the Rangers, but you know who sent this?
Who?
John Tortorella. And I'm going to tell you, when John was down in Tampa, I forged this relationship with him. He is a gigantic football fan, and I keep telling the folks in Philadelphia, the greatest soundbite human being on the planet has landed in Philly, because it'll be entertaining. He'll wear your ass out. I don't know how long he's going to be in Philadelphia with the Flyers, but I love the hire of having John Tortorella as the Flyers head coach.
I loved it too. And I couldn't believe people were saying, "Well, you're hiring a win now coach." And I said, "Well, obviously you don't know the resume of John Tortorella, because John Tortorella in Tampa turned them into winners. John Tortorella with the Rangers took a team that was floundering around just above mediocrity and made them actually a threat. Then he went to Columbus and he taught them how to be winners.
Vancouver too. Too.
Yeah, and that was only 1 year there. It didn't really work out that much. But the thing I'm going to tell you, Dan, is bull poop to all the people saying, "Well, why are you hiring a win now coach?" This is a guy who teaches young players how to win. And he's a guy with 3 stops on his resume, 6 seasons long. Show me anybody who can do that. I personally worked for a guy, Mike Keenan, who was one of the greatest guys, one of the greatest minds in the game. Mike Keenan wore out his welcome sort of right after the opening press conference. I think when you'd walk from the opening press conference, by the time he got to his office, one secretary had maybe, taken herself out back with a cocktail. I mean, it was on. But with John Tortorella, if you can last 6 years in any job, media, coaching, or otherwise, and you do it 3 times, the hell with this win download. No, that's a guy who knows how to build relationships and knows how to create a relationship that lasts. I can't wait to have Torts here. So excited for that. Now that I know he likes football, that's even better because it was a blast when he came on with us the first time. I can't wait to be able to do something with him. It's going to be a lot of fun.
He is an absolutely John. You're gonna love the guy. I mean, he's right up your alley. I mean, straight shooter kind of guy, and he's just passionate about what he does.
Dan, I asked him once. I was doing a Thrashers television broadcast. I was the guy who asked coaches questions as they're coming off the ice or did a between periods interview and stuff like that. And I once asked John Tortorella live on camera in Atlanta. I said to him, all right, coach, Thrashers got a couple goals there. You guys have been giving up goals and blowing leads lately. What are you going to need to do in the third to turn it around? He goes, why don't you tell me? Seems like you got all the answers. All I could do on camera was just be like, I laughed because he was just like, yeah, Einstein. And he goes, when you figure it out, tell me or something. And he walked off and it was funny. I mean, I can't wait to work with him. And as the flagship station, the Fanatic, we're going to have a lot of fun with him. I think it's going to be great. I refuse to give into the gloom and doom of everything. Everybody's like, oh, it's so bad. It's so terrible. Look, I'm going to find joy in any day. It's on my profile, #joyous. When you have cancer twice, by the time you're like 30, you find a way to wake up every day and say, thank God I'm here. What can we do to have some fun? And Sileo, I know you know a little bit about having fun. Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. With that, I close with you and make sure the next time you touch base with Buck, you say I said hi to him. Another guy I love.
Buck's got a book out on his championship season, so you catch up with him. He's doing a great job. I love Buck, and God, he was my brother for 21 years on the air, so it's amazing. All right,
what
Dan.
a great run that was, and what a great run you're having right now. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. That is my friend John Kincade, the morning man on 97.5, The Fanatic. We'll reset, get back to all your thoughts here. Do me a favor, guys. You know Morgan & Morgan, where the fee is free, meaning this: they do not get paid unless you get your fair compensation. If you're hurt or injured on the job, know this: Morgan & Morgan is going to be there for you because, look, for the people, it's not a slogan. This is what they are and who they are. This is what John Morgan has done for the last 30 years, is collect over $13.5 billion worth of compensation for his clients. Offices in Philly, New York, and in Florida. My friends, 800 strong attorneys makes them the biggest law firm in the country when it comes to fair compensation if you've been hurt or injured on the job. The call is free. The consultation's free. 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. Open 24/7, 7 days a week. 800-512-1600. And when you call Morgan & Morgan, tell them Big Sil sent you.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When you're hit from behind in a car crash, the insurance company may try to say, you can't possibly be hurt. It was only a few miles an hour. It's simply not true. You see, here's the thing. Getting hit at 10 miles per hour is like falling off of this. 15 miles per hour, like this. And only 25 miles per hour, this. Injured, dial pound law. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.